This is for the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jono Pech.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast. With over 40 years of playing PlayStation, 8 plus years in that games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us for this PlayStation conversation. And as you heard, that's not Josh. So this is the part where Josh normally goes, so it's going to be confusing for me.
PlayStation.
So the For the Players comes to you every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on the podcast services, 9 a.m. on the YouTubes. If you want to join that podcast PlayStation conversation, head over to the Facebook group, head over to the Discord, links are in the description below. We are also on Patreon, patreon.com/thepopculturists. If you do join us on there, you can watch us record this show live whenever we do it on a Saturday, Sunday. You've experienced firsthand how fucking vague we are about it. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's here, no, it's there. And now it's here again.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how it goes. If you want to show support for pop culture, it's on your body. Head to popcultures.com/shop. You can buy shirts like this and other assorted shit with our logos on it. We are also on Twitch at twitch.tv/thepopculturists. And I think that's about it. I think this week is because I've got WWE Super Showdown next week. So I may do a 2K19 stream on Wednesday for funsies. Now, Jono Pech.
Ryan Betson.
We've not seen you in a very long time, man. How you been?
Fantastic.
That's good, man.
It's it hasn't been an amazing year for games by my standards, but I've had a really good time playing stuff. Catching up on.
Well, that's the benefit.
gold,
When it's quiet, you can go back. But before I get into the games we've been playing, how you been, man? Like, how's your life? How's putting in work? How's the 8-Bit Collective?
Yeah, it's going really well. Putting in work is chuffing along.
Yeah.
A really exciting voice actor on the show this week.
Yeah.
From a major video game franchise that has been a big part of my life. So look forward to that on Thursday. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
That's the sneak teaser trailer for you right there. So yeah, that's been going well, and 8-bit stuff's going fun. We've got the Patreon ticking along. The 8-bit cast has been heaps of fun doing those conversations.
That is the Patreon exclusive one, though, yeah?
It is early access to patrons,
nice,
and then you can subscribe in iTunes and get it 2 weeks later. So that's always a good bit of fun to just chat it up with the rest of the collective. It's always a good time. And, of course, we've just launched the trailer for our campaign to get the Comedy Rewind podcast off the ground, which is our 90s rewatch podcast, which will be hosted by myself with guests, including hopefully you and Josh, to come on there and chat up some Kevin Smith movies. Maybe
You're the right audience there.
Yeah, so it's basically going to be looking at different 90s comedies, see how they hold up. What's maybe not quite as funny now as it was 20 years ago.
Well, because we'll finally touch on that. I went back and watched Ace Ventura again the other week.
How was it?
The movie's good. But the whole twist that it's like a dude the whole time, everyone's like, like scratching their tongues out and shit. It's like, oh, that doesn't land quite well.
It's the hemorrhoids.
Yeah. So up until that point, like it kind of holds, kinda.
Yeah. I mean, I just watched Liar Liar last night.
Dude, that movie's still good.
It's still good, but there's definitely the overacting side of Jim Carrey. It makes you go like, I wonder if anyone else could pull this off and who would do it today. It's definitely a different time. So, yeah, it'll be fun to kind of look at how those movies stack up to the way that senses of humor have changed, but also just what makes them ridiculously 90s, whether it's bad haircuts or technology.
Right on the end of the 90s was American Pie. That came out in at the end of 99. And like that style of movie, that raunchy comedy, that's very, I don't know, male sex drive focused, doesn't exist anymore.
No, and it kind of held on for that was kind of the start of, I guess, a new kind of teen comedy that lasted almost until like Superbad. And
Superbad was like, well, we can't beat that. That movie's fucking brilliant. And then they stopped.
Yeah, and Mean Girls is another one that kind of changed it, I think. But
fucking love Mean Girls. Yeah. I hold that movie so dearly. I don't know what it is. It's written so well. Tina Fey is fucking brilliant.
Well, it's the teen movie of like our teenage years as well. Like there's teen movies when you're a bit younger that you kind of feel like you can connect with. But when Mean Girls came out, I think I was like the same age as the people in that movie. So
what I'm looking forward to now, because the 90s is full a lot. Like, there's a good hunk of like coming of age movies from people that were in the in their teens in like the 70s and shit. So we're right at that point now where we're going to see coming of age movies for when we were growing up, and that's what I can't wait to see.
Yeah, well, Jonah Hill just put out mid-90s, which
Well,
I haven't
go.
seen yet, but I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's like a good example of nostalgia finally catching up to us. And that's kind of what this podcast is about. It's like we were kids or teenagers when these movies were, really popular. And do we just think they're funny because we were dumb kids? Or are they still good? So it's going to be fun to look back at how Adam Sandler and Mike Myers and these like blockbuster kind of headline names movies, how those flicks hold up now 20 30 years later.
Yeah, so if you do want to see that show and hear us go a little bit deeper with some movies, head over to patreon.com/8bit.
We are 8bit.
We are 8bit.
Just cancel all of your Patreon to pop culturists and send it over to us.
Might be better used. We're very bad at keeping our Patreon promises. I can promise you that. But yeah, so what have you been playing, dude? It's been a long time.
Yeah, a lot of games. I've been trying to keep up with some of the new stuff. So I platinumed Days Gone and finished Rage 2.
Well, they're two games that I'm still currently dicking about with. So Rage 2, as I mentioned last week in the show, like it's really cool in combat. Once you're out of combat, the game sucks dick.
It does.
Like it sucks so hard.
I almost wish it was a linear game.
Yeah.
Because of that. Because I feel like you are literally going from one combat to the next, and if you go to a location on your map and there's no enemies there, you're like, no, I guess I'll keep looking.
Yeah,
it just doesn't do the other stuff well, and it kind of can see that they've tried to push out from what the first Rage was at an open world, and it just, because it's new to that style of game, it doesn't quite work. It's not a Far Cry. It's even there's just no benefit to go exploring or to chase down a convoy that will just drive past and not affect you if you.
That's one thing that's always baffled me. They never really seem to jump you. Like occasionally you see this kind of semi-Mad Maxi convoys, and then nothing happens.
It's like, oh, there it goes, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So
What about Days Gone though? Because Days Gone being very divisive. Like I myself I just got Boozer a puppy.
Oh, nice.
It's a very cool mission, very sweet mission.
Yeah. So platinumed that and really enjoyed it. It's not a game that I would say everyone needs to play, like you usually can say with these PlayStation exclusives, but it's still a game where if you enjoy that style of game, it's worth playing.
Paul jumps in, who is watching from the Patreon link. He says, I'm on the final Days Gone mission.
Yeah. And I mean, the story, I have enjoyed the story of this game, and it takes a bit too long to happen.
Yeah, this damn game's going for forever.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. I keep saying the first third of the game could probably be cut out, and you wouldn't lose
or trimmed at least
too much. Yeah, definitely heavily trimmed, and I think that it would be a better final product.
See, I feel like I've got to be close, but like I'm not even near it.
Yeah, you keep thinking that, and then like new parts of maps open up.
Yeah, because Paul comes in, he goes, "Help your trophies! You've got fucking so much to go." Yeah. Like, oh balls, because I'm at that point. I've got to like break the caves in. I haven't done that yet.
And it's a shame because the latter half of the game, I think, is where it gets like you've finally become invested in the characters.
Yeah.
And I really liked Deacon St. John as a character.
Yeah, I'm enjoying him, and I'm enjoying Boozer. There's seeing a lot of growth in Boozer now, which I'm really liking. The whole idea of him, because we'll go mild to
He's gone for like the first act. Basically, you don't talk to him at all.
Yeah, like he's arm gets jacked at the start of one of the first missions, what the PAX demo for those of you who played it at PAX, and then he kind of goes missing for a while, and now he's back. You had to make the decision to cut his arm off, so you got that bit of guilt, and then you're kind of helping his mental health, and I think that's a really cool little side branch.
Yeah, like
and you
need like they say, like you need more, like surviving's not enough. You need a reason to live and all this kind of thing. So.
Yeah, so I just got him that little puppy, and on top of that, like Deacon, I've just burnt down the church he got married in. So like that's a pretty big turning point in his character. The idea of dropping the notion that Sarah may still be alive. Yeah. Spoilers, I think she may be. Just
not a spoiler if it's just your opinion.
yeah. Part of me thinks I'm like, yeah, it'd be really funny. Like he goes, huh, burns the church down, and she's like, hey, like, holy fuck. She's like, right there. She's like, where were you? He's like, I was over there the whole time. Oh, sorry, I didn't get on any cords.
Yeah. So I think that if you enjoy that style of game, especially killing zombies, like that is really
the freakers are fun.
The freakers are fun, and killing them is fun. And towards the end of the game, they basically made the Horde's end game content. Like you can take them down earlier, and I took out a few even from the get go. But it's a completely different strategy. Like at the start, it's kind of trying to game the game and trying to find ways to take out these huge hordes when you're probably not meant to do it yet.
Yeah.
And then later on, you get like the guns and the tools to do it quite easily, and it's really fun.
Because like I accidentally stumbled into a cave. I was driving through, and as Deacon tends to do, he's like yells fucking at random shit. He's like, "Oh, I'll empty out these nests later." I'm like, I fucking don't have any nests. Like I cleared this area out. So I found a path. I looked at the map. There's a path that I haven't gone down. Oh, I'll go down here. Wandered down through it. Found a little historical thingy. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then getting that red circle. I'm like, oh, where's the nest? Turn around, there's a cave. Yeah. I'm like, oh, let's go. It's middle of the day, right? So they're all fucking hibernating. I'm like, I wonder what's in here. Bro.
They got ya?
Eliminated. Ruined. Like, not even, I didn't even get a swing, and I went, huh? And then just got drowned in freakers.
Yeah, there's plenty of fun you can have with that. I did a let's play / kind of review discussion for 8-bit that you can watch where I take down a
YouTube.com/weare8bit.
Yeah, it's about 300 freaks in the kind of a pit, and just
that's the one we played at PAX. Because it's like, like a little crater, and they're all in this weird crater.
Yeah, it might be.
And you're on your bike, and you're gonna kind of like.
I mean, you're always on your bike, so that doesn't really help. Yeah. But it's a story mission. It's one of the last missions actually. But I talk over it, so there's no spoilers. But it's kind of like showing, like, you kind of lure them towards this fuel tank, and you blow that up, and then you run away, and you throw some traps, and it's just like there's different ways that you can kind of thin the herd.
Well, because previously, like in the past, I was like fanging on my bike. I'm like, I can make through this. I just like try to go through them instead, like just clear the way. I'm like, I can't get around them, so I'm gonna have to go through them, and it's just like hitting a brick wall. Yeah, you just stop and then you get mushed.
Start throwing punches.
Yeah,
yeah. So I'd say keep going with that, and hopefully.
How was the platinum though?
The platinum wasn't bad, except that there was a glitch trophy in one of the camps that I couldn't finish that storyline.
Yep.
So I had to wait for them to patch it, which took about 2 weeks from when I would have platinumed it.
So did you hold off doing the mission, or did it just load in once?
I just did everything else, and then once they patched it, like it was like mission complete.
Oh, nice, okay. Cool. Yeah, so it just kind of happened. All right, nice.
Yeah. Like the glitch was that the person you meant to talk to, you talk to, but it doesn't like tick over that you talk to them, and then it's telling you to like find them, but they're already gone.
You've already spoken to them.
Yeah. So thanks for fixing that bend. And the rest of it, like collectibles, I had to go looking for a few of them, but I was getting them as I went.
Did you have the guide?
I think I used the guide to find maybe like 20 out of the 180 that you need.
That's not too bad.
But it's like, where's the historical markers? Where are the, the what's the tech called? The company that.
The company that is straight out of Siphon Filter, yeah.
Abstergo.
Yeah.
Whatever they are. Yeah, so it's definitely attainable. You don't have to go too far out of your way to do it. And you got to upgrade like every skill point as well.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So that just comes to playing, I suppose.
Yep.
The one I've been trying to do, because I saw it, that seems easily achievable, is just the drifting with nitrous for 5 seconds.
You need to get the final NOS upgrade.
Yeah.
Which you can't get till near the end.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
You need to have like level 3 at a particular camp.
Yeah, I think... Okay, cool. So it's a camp I've not seen yet, obviously.
Probably,
because the last one I unlocked was Iron Mike. And I've got Iron Mike's highest nitrous.
Yeah. Okay. You'll get there. You'll get there one day.
Because I'm sitting here trying to do it. I'm like, why can't I do it?
Don't spend too much time on that.
So I'll come back to it later, I suppose.
But otherwise, yeah. So I've been playing. I played Observation.
Oh, that's the cool spacey one, yeah. No, sorry everyone. I do have a minor head cold. So I'm gonna blow my nose. Keep talking.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I didn't love it. I actually found it really frustrating. Done a spoiler / review discussion with Sammy Deej from 8-bit about that. He really liked it. I know Ali from the Hungry Gamers really liked it as well, so it might just be me. But
I like the idea of it.
Yeah,
but space always weirds me out. So.
The atmospheric side of it is done really well. It looks great, apart from the character models, and it's just kind of the wayfinding and the clunky movement and the puzzles. There's not the payoff in the puzzles themselves to make them worth trying to find, because it doesn't hold your hand, and it's one of those things where you're like looking for a particular object or document with a password for a computer terminal or whatever, and there's no like markers on your screen to point you towards it, so you can spend a lot of time trying to find something that should be fairly easy for a game that's essentially like a walking simulator where you just want to experience the story and do some easy puzzles. I think that they kind of got in their own way with telling that story because of those elements, so it was a bit of a disappointment for me. But I think if you're really into space and sci-fi and weird,
well, because you're essentially playing 2001, aren't you? Because you're like a AI.
Yeah, AI. Which is kind of one of the issues. Is like you're meant to be this smart AI, but I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do because they're not telling me. Yeah, it falls apart a little bit in that sense for me. But other people seem to be digging it. So if that's up your alley, then maybe check it out.
It was on my list of interests, but I didn't reach out for code or anything. So like I was like, I'll buy it later.
Yeah, you can wait for that one. I think.
Yeah, I might wait for a sale.
And otherwise, Hollow Knight I just finished and
that game's
really enjoyed. Man, that is a tough game.
Fuck yeah, it is. That's why I stopped playing.
It's one of those things where it's right on the line of being too hard and just being hard enough, where you feel like good for doing something, but at the same time, if they just put like save points before a boss, that would make such a big difference to like the frustration factor. Because we all know that games like Celeste and Super Meat Boy, like they're hard, but because there's no penalty for dying, it doesn't get to you. You just like keep trying until you get it. But if you die and then you have to like platform your way back to where you were and try not to lose health on your way to the boss, like that can get really frustrating. And then the Messenger is one I've just started on.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about Messenger.
That's really good. I mean, if you're into platformers and that kind of old style,
Metroidvania-y.
It's
because Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania-y.
Hollow Knight definitely is. So far for me, the Messenger hasn't been any elements of going back as far as the map. Like, you are building abilities as you go. Like that's kind of a Metroidvania-y quality, but until it says like go back to this area that you were at the start, I think that's when it kind of becomes a true Metroidvania. So it's just a 2D platformer at this point with skill trees and stuff. So yeah, it's a really great game, and I'm glad that it made its way to the PS4, because when I bought my Switch, that was one of the games that I put on my list. Like, this is something that I've missed because it wasn't on the PS4, but then they kind of ported it and Hollow Knight over, so that kind of whittled down my Switch list again.
Yeah, I barely use my Switch anymore. Barely.
Pokemon's coming.
Yeah, I can wait.
Yeah.
Let's see. Paul says you're having a good time of it. All them are gems.
And that I guess he's saying the Metroidvania elements will come in the Messenger.
Ah, beautiful. There you go. So is that all you've been checking out?
Pretty much. There's probably something I'm forgetting. I platinumed the Division as well, but that's
2?
something. Yeah, the Division
nice.
2. Yeah, but that's something I've been playing like since it came out.
Yeah,
and just kind of another glitched trophy that held me back for like months, but they finally fixed it.
As I said before, I had such a good time with that game. Like
Are you done with it?
I got distracted by these other games, and I do want to go back. My only concern is because I never touched the Dark Zone. I didn't.
Did you finish?
I got the campaign done, and I got right into the end. It's the level gear end game part, world gear, whatever, and then world tier, sorry, and then the other shit came. Then other games came along, so it kind of caught my attention. But my only concern is now, having been so far out, like, am I going to get fucking monstered?
Well, if you're in world tier 2 or 1 or whatever, you're going to be amongst your level.
Cool.
It's just you won't be able to do the raid until you get to like level 4 gear score 500 or whatever.
Yeah, so because they do have the different dark zones, right? The different level dark zones.
There's always one of the 3 dark zones that's like really hard. Yeah, and invaded or whatever. But it should like the dark zone levels. It like brings everyone to the same level.
Cool. All right. Cool.
It's just that your gear won't be as good as maybe other people's gear.
Yeah, because that was the problem when I played the Division 1. Is like whenever I did go into the dark zone, I get fucking mushed because I haven't played.
Yeah, it's not somewhere you want to go by yourself.
Yeah, certainly true.
Orgasmo XXX has followed.
Oh yeah, that was like 11 days ago. What a champion. What a name, though.
Basketball. It's not basketball. But
It is the movie Orgasmo, yeah. But myself, so I said I've been playing Days Gone and Rage 2 are the big ones that I've spent a lot of time with. What else have I been playing?
The Blood.
Yes, and the big one I've been playing is Blood and Truth. So big thank you to PlayStation Australia for providing us the code for Blood and Truth. We'll run through that now. So Blood and Truth is from Sony London, the guys that I personally know best for the PSVR Worlds, which was they did the London Heist demo, the whole thing, and The Getaway on PS2. So Blood and Truth is essentially the next Getaway. It feels like it's not set in the same, not same characters and sort of stuff. It's the same world. Like it's still that London gritty crime drama. It's like a Guy Ritchie movie, pretty much. Sure. But I think it's not Getaway in name.
It looks kind of story heavy.
I mean, yes, it is very story heavy. So the big difference is. So in VR Worlds, you did have the London Heist demo, which was very clearly just a tech demo of what this game become. Sure. So it's just giving you the basic rundown of what it is. And they've taken that and they've expanded it into this full story. So you play a character called Ryan Marks, which was fantastic for me, by the way, because talk about immersion. Every time I'm like, Ryan, I'm like, huh?
Is it Marks like KS or X?
KS.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that hardcore.
Yeah. The Marx Brothers.
So you're part of this crime family, I guess. Your mother, who's like the matriarch of the whole thing. You got a brother and you're a sister. The brother kind of looks like Max Payne.
Bald Max Payne?
No, 1 and 2 Max Payne. She gets kidnapped. It starts up with your father had passed away. Obviously, he being the head of the family, some other guy named Tony wants to come in and do a hostile takeover and become the new crime boss. And it's you sort of like getting revenge on him and trying to bring him down. And you're working alongside this gentleman named Carson, who is the British dude from Arrow. If you ever watched that, he's the big bald black dude. So that part was kind of fun. But yeah, the gameplay's tight. Like, it feels really cool. Although it is primarily a shooter, you do some things that aren't shootery.
Like basic puzzle.
Like basic puzzles, like using cameras and lock picking and like hacking into shit and that sort of stuff. That part's fun as hell. Anytime you do something that isn't shooting, it's still good. Shooting is dope though. It feels relatively responsive. The only big problems that I do have with it is when you sort of use any two-handed weapons. Like there's a pump-action shotgun, and without that physical feeling, you constantly miss because you need to pump it, right? So because you're using your left hand to grab it, you constantly, without that physical feeling, it feels off.
Do you have to like do it in the perfect like straight line?
Not really. Like there is some forgiven in terms of what works, and even when you shoot somewhere, sometimes it may skirt the person, but it'll count as a hit. It's a little bit forgiving that way. But when you have to use like a rifle, you look down the scope, that's really hard because it's kind of a bit jank. But it would really benefit from the use of the aim controller. But when you spend a majority of the time requiring two hands, it makes no sense to have the aim controller.
Sure.
That makes sense.
So this is a game that you can't play with a DualShock, basically?
You can. I wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't get as much from it?
No, you would not. No way get as much fun if you play it with the DualShock. Soundtrack is brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Original soundtrack?
So there are about 2 songs that are licensed songs, and they fit so well. Like one, you're in this broken ass tower, and you got like a bunch of sort of street level thugs. They've got a lot of that, like the Jamaican influenced British gang culture, like the sort of like what Ali G takes the piss out of. So that kind of music is there.
Cool.
And there's a really nice pop song. I think it's a pop song, and you're fanging it through Afghanistan in a jeep, just shooting at like people that are trying to jack you.
do you think it's feasible for them to patch in VR aim support and
No.
create an equal, better gameplay experience? I just thought that question off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
very good. Thank you, Paul and Jono. No, I don't think there's no really worth patching it in because I said like as you require two hands almost 90% of the time for in order to put that in for just one or two guns doesn't quite make sense. Like any of the machine guns, any of the rifles, you can still hold with one hand and get just as effective. But yeah.
Have you finished this game?
I have. So I did finish the campaign. It took me about 6-ish hours. So I similar to today's game, I'm really enjoying this game. I want to give this some trophy time. Like as someone that gives zero fucks about trophies most of the time, like I'm gonna go out of my way, and I'm seeing about 60-something%, 86%. Yeah, it's like there's not a lot of trophies. A lot of the ones now are go and find the collectibles, do a couple of different things.
Yeah.
Like change the outcomes of different scenes.
Okay.
Like as in, there's a guy at the end. Instead of shooting him, let him plead his case, or shoot him in the balls.
So
like there's 3 trophies there.
There's different ending, different branching stories. Or
It does all lead to the same point, but
They
there's a
always
couple minor, like say you got AteBit. There's a little bit of a curve here and there.
it's cool. And
The game is solid.
Is this game being well received?
It has been incredibly well received, and understandably so. Like is it like a hardware mover? Probably not.
Yeah.
But if you happen to have VR and you want a brilliant game, I'd pick it up.
Because I feel like last year was a big year for kind of PSVR putting up some games that were like, these are some of the best games of the year.
Yeah.
And they were kind of maybe more indie
Yeah.
experiences versus this seems to be one of the kind of more polished.
100%. Having it be first party really helps that. Like there is that Sony polish to it, which is really nice. And what I find with VR is a lot of the games that are notable come out in a small window of time. Like so, in the last couple of weeks, we've had Everybody's Gold VR, we had Blood and Truth, we had that new game from Squanch Games, the guys from Rick and Morty. Like there's a lot of games that tend to drop round about the same time. And then I'll put my VR away and not touch it for a couple of months, and then I'll probably bring it up another couple of games again. So like I've packed all my VR up now. So will I get the Platinum Blood and Truth? Probably not. Mostly because I have to pull it back out again. Yeah. Setting up VR is the dumbest shit in the world, and I hate it.
That's why people are getting all about that new Oculus.
Yeah, the Oculus fucking portable one. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, so like, yeah, it's good. It's really good.
That's cool.
I really enjoyed my time with it. It was great to pull some VR out. However, there is some video that I do have. As I was playing, my son comes in and goes, "Thanks, Daddy," grabs the controller and fucking runs. So in the game, you just see my hand go.
Like, whoop, okay.
So that is a good video. He's just gone
It's,
with my hand.
Restart checkpoint.
Let's see what Paul jumps in with one more company goes. So what are you trying to say is that we need a new gun peripheral, dual guns? That is true, because something about the way the move controllers are designed, it kind of has you hold it a certain way to pull a trigger, but a game never registers, like it kind of wants you to push your hand forward a little bit. So it kind of never feels comfortable. Like, I know on PS3 they probably had like move control holders. They had like a gun, like a handle to it. Because you know how like the SOCOM game had that big fucking assault rifle you could put the move controls in. I imagine something like that would be beneficial, or just put it out there, better fucking controllers. Get rid of the moves.
Ludicrous.
Get rid of the moves. Yeah. Just saying. But after that extended conversation of what we've been playing, let's get into some fucking news. So this is a section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what PlayStation news happened this week. This has been collated by Josh, who does apologise for not being able to attend this week.
We miss you, Josh.
Give me just one moment. Activision has revealed that 2019's Call of Duty will be called Call of Duty Modern Warfare, as leaked last week. Its release date is set for October 25 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and it features some significant and welcome changes to the multiplayer front that could make a lot more open to more players, along with the Infinity Ward calls a quote more realistic style of single player campaign. Notably, this is not considered Modern Warfare 4, which would have been the next numbered entry in the series. The game's subtitle is just simply Modern Warfare, and it serves as a reboot to 2007's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. In a surprising check-up to the formula, the game is set to feature cross-play and will not have a season pass. In an official statement from Infinity Ward, the team plans for Modern Warfare to be played together across PC and console through cross-play support. It wasn't clarified if this means PS4 and Xbox One players will be able to play together, or if it simply means PS4 and Xbox One players can join games with PC, but separately. Beyond this news, Infinity Ward is implementing traditional season pass from Modern Warfare, as we said, so the team can, quote, deliver more free maps and content as well as post-launch events to all players, which means, in true Activision fashion, this bitch is going to be full of microtransactions. And it did also come out that they are working on a new engine for this game. So the same engine they've been using for forever has nicely been reworked.
There you go.
Yeah, so we watched the trailer before we came in here to record. We watched it along with Paul. Are you a Call of Duty man?
I have enjoyed campaigns of past Call of Duties, but I wouldn't call myself a fan because I never get into the multiplayer. It's not my jam, and it's always kind of like, I'll play it if it's on PS Plus, or if it's, I think when I bought my console, it came with Advanced Warfare or something.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the campaign's back. If it's a game that gets rave reviews because of its campaign, then it's like, yeah, I might check that out.
Yep.
But, yeah, I'm happy for it to come out and sell $1 billion every year without me having any interest in it. That's fine.
The Modern Warfare franchise, like many Call of Duty players, I mean, were my favorite games. Like in terms of out of the whole franchise Call of Duty, the Modern Warfares were the most interesting. Having it as a soft reboot is interesting. It's a bold move, seeing as they remastered Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare, 2 years ago, and yeah, to see, there's 3 versions of this game now, I guess. Even if it's a soft reboot. My real question around this is, what does this mean for Blackout? Like, they've established this big battle royale mode. Will that be reinvented for this one, or will they keep Blackout as its own separate thing and then keep releasing games? So with PS4 and PS5's alleged cross-generation play, I presume that at some point they're going to release a free-to-play model, or at least a downloadable section of just Blackout so you can keep playing. Because it seems weird. The annualization of Call of Duty is of a detriment to a mode like that, and I do wonder whether it's built into this.
I mean, would it be that hard to just replicate from game to game?
Yeah, but it's that same point of people that invested all this money in that Blackout,
Sure.
and they're releasing a Blackout 2 within a year. Even it seems to be this ongoing thing with that Call of Duty model. Sort of be it's that 1 year shit. And then with Battle Royale, with the likes of Apex, with the likes of Fortnite, they seem to be version 1, and we just keep adding to it.
I mean, there's a lot of precedent for that to happen because games like NBA 2K, people put money into every year. They get their character up to level 99, and then a new game comes out, and people can, if you want to keep playing NBA 2K17, you can.
Yeah.
But here's a new one, and then everyone just jumps in there and starts from the bottom again.
Yeah, saying that, something really nice about MLB The Show is when you boot up the game, it goes, hey, we noticed you've got a player from last year. You want to bring him over? I'm like, yeah. So they bring him into the new model. And they go, cool, these are the new features this year. Do you want to change your character to reflect these new features? You go, yep, cool, ding, 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 ding.
That's really cool.
And you go, bring it in.
So do they add, do you maintain your, skill points and everything?
Yeah, so you can, if there's a kick butt player over here. So it even continues so say, even though it's, MLB, so you start playing the game in the 2018 season on the game. If you keep playing it up until, season 2020, when you jump into the new one, it'll continue as if you were still playing in 2020. It just looks better and bees better. Hey,
we've got a visitor.
So he's got my nasal decongestant. I did message Millie. I'm like, please bring my congestion. Can I please have that, buddy? Come on, you can come in.
It's on the ground.
It's a good start. Daddy can't breathe out of his left nostril, so can I please have that? Thank you. What are you talking about?
Blackout.
So Paul has jumped in and said, I'm no Call of Duty guy, but the story is written by ex-Naughty Dog writers and has me mighty interested. Jump on that while I store some shit.
Well, as we all know, Naughty Dog are the masters of crafting stories in games. So if it does indeed have some, I guess they would be potentially people who've worked on whether it's The Last of Us or Uncharted 3 or 4, then yeah, putting them into a setting with Modern Warfare has a lot of potential. Because, I mean, I haven't played every one of these things, but it seems like you get a lot of the same tropes of like, you know, you're in a crew,
big action set pieces,
and then someone dies and someone turns on you, and it's like, okay, like let's do something different.
The thing I wonder, because we'll get to this when we talk about Death Stranding later, because spoilers is in the title. With the whole, you know, Death Stranding is even like it's Kojima's baby, same as like Last of Us and Naughty Dog. It's like it's Neil Druckmann. So it's like the idea is like how much are these people involved? Like although these maybe Naughty Dog writers, what is their contribution to this overall? Like are they just using the tailcoats of somebody else here? Like how much of their involvement was in what became The Last of Us?
Yeah, I mean something like, well, let's use The Last of Us as an example. I think Neil Druckmann is. I thought you were like sighing, like
no, it, like oxygen just went. You know, that cold rush. It was like,
Neil's so dreamy.
Neil.
Yeah, like so he. I suppose he, and whether it was him and Bruce Straley, like they conceived of this concept together.
Yeah.
And they directed it, and they kind of controlled the character development and that kind of thing. But you still need a team of writers.
Of course.
And there's a long list of people that work on those games. So you know that they, whether it's a round table process or they're writing dialogue or whatever it is, like they're part of that process and they're a big part of what makes those games work so well because they are written immaculately.
Because same goes for like TV shows. If you look like Breaking Bad, right? You got Vince Gilligan as the guy, the big guy, and then you've got all the other dudes who, like all those other dudes have written some of the most brilliant fucking episodes of television.
Yeah, and like something like Lost, Carlton Cuse was one of the main writers. You had like, obviously, I mean, JJ was JJ Abrams was a big part of that show. And then you see one of those people leave and do a show like The Leftovers, and you're like, okay, you're part of that previous show that we liked, so let's see what you do over here. And often, you know, even if you're not the person that came up with all the best ideas, if you're part of that process, you at least have an understanding of what it takes to write a good story. You're part of the process that of how you can develop and come up with a final product that works. And I think that if they are bringing in Naughty Dog writers, as Paul says, they'll know what it took to come up with, to go from great idea and great concept to great finished product.
And on top of that, like it may also not be a good thing. If you remember after Scary Movie, from the writers of Scary Movie, and a bunch of dumpster films. So could go either way.
I mean, Scary Movie's not The Last of Us.
Or is it? No, Scary Movie 3 is. Scary Movie 3 is fucking brilliant. Moving on, number 2, as we mentioned briefly last week, the Ubisoft store appears to have leaked a placeholder image revealing the rumored EA Access style subscription service. I've lost where am I? There we go. As reported by VG247, a Rasteria user spotted the image that was briefly live on the Ubisoft store, and it appears to have a previously unannounced service called the Ubisoft Pass. Although entirely unconfirmed at this stage, and only following on rumors, Ubisoft Pass certainly sounds like a subscription service. Additionally, the word premium, quote, leads to speculation that we may even see a tiered service with different levels of access. This wouldn't be surprising considering that Ubisoft typically launches a new game with about 14,000 different fucking special editions.
So it's just like an EA Origins type?
Or EA Access, like you've got on the Xbox as an example. Actually, I think this is a different rumor. So yeah, EA Access was coming across to PlayStation. I think this is coming along with it. As someone that like EA Access doesn't really interest me because I don't play a lot of EA games. I play a lot of fucking Ubisoft games though. So that's tempting. Very tempting.
Yeah, I mean, every time you boot up the Ubisoft game and you kind of sign in and you go in and redeem all your like little extra items that you can get, it shows you like, wow, I play a lot of these people's games.
Yeah. It's pretty much what it came down to. Like I look back at my year, even so far, I'm like, wow, I play a lot of Ubisoft games. Which is great because like we're thankfully we're really tight with the team over at Ubisoft, like Shane in particular. Hey Shane, I know you watch. so for that reason, like we always go hands-on with their games. So it would be really cool, because I know like something like, as a weird example, like the Epic Store, right? Like the Epic Store has press accounts, where it's like you have a press account and you just, when something cool, you can just download it. There's no fucking around, no asking for a code, it's just there. So it'd be cool, because if they bring this in, there's that. So rather than if you happen to be a press person, it's like, there you go. That doesn't benefit the average person. That benefits probably us more than anything. But that'd be really cool, because I wouldn't have to harass Shane all the time.
That's great.
But in terms of like whether if they have the back catalog of Ubisoft games, it'd be cool. Like I kind of enjoy Assassin's Creed games, but I wouldn't go out of my way to play the old ones. But if this was a possibility, I'd certainly consider it. There's a lot of Ubisoft games that I really like that I just don't spend a lot of time with. Like I played a lot of the big tentpole ones, like Trials, etc., and the newer Assassin's Creed. But it'd be very cool to see what range they put on there.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Well, we don't have all the details, obviously. It's something...
Still speculative here.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of that like customer service, like bridging the gap between developer and the player, which is a really cool thing, I think, and it's something that we're starting to see more of, even in the way that these guys are putting together their like news cycles, their conferences, whether it's skipping E3 and doing something yourself. It looks like they're, I guess, trying to make themselves a brand in people's eyes. Like not everyone that plays video games associates the game with the developer, especially if you're only playing 5 games a year. A lot of people will just play FIFA and COD, and they might not know who it is. They might see EA Sports and have some kind of identification with that. But I think to build your brand, and we've seen Bethesda do the Bethesda launcher on online, and it just seems to be a tactic that different developers are using to get a bit more control and offer their loyal fans something more. It's another. It even comes down to like even the fact that there is a Ubi, login account, and there's an EA.
Yes, Uplay on the
Uplay, and then you've got like the EA one, and
or EA Origin. Yeah,
you kind of when you first sign up, you're like, well, why am I doing this? And okay, you might get something out of it, but ultimately, those types of things are probably going to build up into something that has the potential to do this kind of thing.
The only other concern that I have is that it's another subscription service you have to pay for. People have like the likes of Netflix and Stan and PS Plus and etc. So it is possibly another $10 a month thing, and that could be a concern.
But I guess it comes down to what are you getting out of it. If it means that you get access to, I don't know, let's just say for example you get access to the entire back catalogue of Ubi titles, whether it's like a Xbox Game Pass type situation, maybe you get early access to new Ubisoft games.
That would be cool.
I think that people will find the value that they want. Like, no one's forcing you to do it. If you don't play a lot of Ubisoft games, there's probably no reason to do it. And then if you're not getting your money's worth, then you can still play their games. It's not, as long as it's not forced, like to play our games, you have to have this kind of thing.
I don't think it will be.
No, it wouldn't make much sense, especially on like a platform like PlayStation. Like,
it's like I'm a little pessimistic, but saying that, I want to jump the shot. I'm fucking jumping on the thing so bad. I play, so I play too many Ubisoft games to make it not worth my time. Number 3. Square Enix will show off Marvel's Avengers during the publisher's E3 2019 press conference. Although it's still mostly in the dark about how the game will actually play, or even if it exists, but the E3 website has given some broad details. In the schedule for E3 Coliseum, the event-long live stream hosted by Jeff Keighley, a segment called Marvel's Avengers Showcase, has a couple of tidbits that give the viewers a brief idea of what to expect. It states the game, quote, combines cinematic storytelling with continuous single-player and cooperative gameplay, end quote. As well as confirming co-op, it goes on to mention customization and the ability to combine powers. Quote, assemble in teams of up to 4 players, master extraordinary abilities, customize your heroes to fit your playstyle, and combine players to defend an ever-expanding world under constant threat. By the sound of it, the game will possibly play in a Diablo-esque style, with different kinds of upgradable loot and repeatable difficulty-scaled content. The worldwide reveal of that will, for us, be Tuesday the 11th of June.
Yeah, Diablo style makes me wonder.
Yeah, so...
Because the whole idea of this game, as long as I've known about it, I've just thought, like, what's the genre? Is it going to be essentially a souped-up version of Ultimate Alliance?
That's what I kind of thought it was
kind
going.
of the only... That and, like, the Lego games, they're, like, the only things I can imagine of how it would work, where you have to go through a linear level because you've got characters that can fly and everything. Like, how much freedom can you really give when it's a co-op experience? I can't think of anything else that would work.
Yeah, let's say like the 2.5D Diablo-esque, dungeon crawlery style would be very cool. Like sort of making your way through a city, just find a villain, and take on that villain, and there's little side missions along the way, and like that part is probably the best way to go about it without making it feel like a derivative of something else.
Yeah.
Because my brain did go straight to Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why don't they just make Ultimate Alliance then?
Yeah, I don't really understand. We will know when we find out what it is, but it just feels like it would have to be something arcadey rather than like a really like defined,
a big narrative story,
narrative cinematic thing, like even like Spider-Man PS4. Like
that would be cool. But I don't know how they could do that. It would
be great if you could implement that, and maybe it's like you control this character for this level, and the next level you control this character. But if you're given the choice, like it sounds like, to be Thor or Hawkeye, like there's a pretty big difference there between their abilities, and the level would have to take that into account. So yeah, it's hard to understand how it's going to work, but I'm sure that they know what they're doing.
I think you're on the right idea there. I think if anyone that does expect a Spider-Man level experience from this, he's probably going to be quite disappointed. I do think it will be that. Just because you've kind of even without me thinking about it, you kind of nailed the points here. I'm like, oh well, Thor is fucking very different to Hawkman. Hawkman. He's from DC. Hawkman, Hawkeye. So I think having a dungeon crawly, hitting people, numbers pop above their heads, probably the best way to go about. That style of RPG is probably easier to bring those differences together. And seeing that it's falling directly under Marvel, like I'm not sure whether they've highlighted any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe shit, but maybe you get to have that Battle of New York or maybe some stuff like that.
The only issue with that is it's so close to Ultimate Alliance 3.
It is.
So what?
Oh, that's coming on Switch, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's like, what?
This got to do something different.
How is it going to be different? Yeah. Whether it's just the Avengers, or whether it's like you create a character and play alongside a specific. There's too many factors to really be able to guess. We're just wasting our time guessing, really.
That's correct.
Speculation.
It is, and it's one of those things, like, until we know more, it's going to be a tough one.
But I'm excited.
I'll give it a go.
I have high hopes, because I just don't think they're going to put anything out that's bad.
See, this year my approach to E3 is different. I'm not staying up because I'm last year I used for my old job, I used it as an excuse to not go to work. Well, now I like my job, so you can
watch it at work.
I'll watch it at work because so there'll be no 3 a.m. getting up to watch this Square Enix again and being disappointed because fuck last year. So hopefully this is something that's good that's going to come out of Square. Yeah. Is my goal.
So.
Number 4, PS Plus games for June 2019 have been announced. They are Sonic Mania and the Borderlands Handsome Jack collection.
I did not know that one. That's cool.
Sonic Mania is cool. I like Sonic Mania.
I like both of these because I haven't played them, which is like
very rare.
Something I haven't been able to say for a couple of months. Like Overcooked, awesome game. Obviously played it, and whatever else has been out recently. It's good to see some bang for the buck. Yeah, well, Sonic Mania looked very cool when it dropped last year or whatever it was, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll check it out, and then it was too expensive. So for me personally, it looked too expensive. For curiosity. Yeah. So this would be a good way to check that out. Handsome collection makes total sense. Borderlands 3 is literally around the corner. Everyone gets to dip their toes in. It just builds up excitement for Borderlands 3. So,
on point.
Handsome Collection, tell me what the difference is between that and the main Borderlands series.
Okay, so the Handsome Collection is the remastered version of Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel.
Oh.
So Borderlands 1 is the only one that didn't make that, but they did release the remastered version just recently.
And the pre-sequel is made by a different...
2K Australia, yeah. So there's a lot of Australian accents in there. It's good. It's a good laugh.
Nice. But it's the same style of game.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, I will definitely be digging into that because Borderlands is a game that I played until my save file was corrupted, and then I never went back to it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It'll be good to experience that world a bit more before the hype of 3 comes out.
The only my only concern is because thinking about this in general. Paul says, "Get on it. We can do some co-op." Yeah, man.
It'll be fun.
My copy of Hands Collection is still installed on my PlayStation. I haven't played it in fucking forever. It's a good game. My concern is, whether people get their teeth too into Borderlands and then they lose interest in Borderlands 3.
It can happen. Yeah, I mean, especially where it's more of the same. Like, if The Division had just come out before The Division 2, like, as a PS Plus game, I could see people playing it for, 50 hours and then being like, I probably don't need to play Division 2, so it's, I mean, we're still some months out, so it's enough time for people to, either dip their toe in and be like, yep, I like this, I'm going to stop playing and get Borderlands 3, or they could play through it and then have a couple of months before they can get back to it again.
I agree.
Playing other stuff.
Number 5, the top selling games for the weekend on PlayStation for week ending 26th of May 2019. Number 10, Division 2. Number 9, FIFA 19. Number 8, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 6, GTA 5. Number 5, Fallout 76. Number 4, Rage 2. Number 3, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 2, Days Gone. Number 1, Sonic Super fucking Racing, whatever it's called. I don't know. Josh wrote it as Sonic Mania, and I know that's wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's Super Mega Sonic Racing.
Team Racing.
Sonic Team Racing. Is
that it?
That's totally. That. I added an unnecessary amount of words to it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of those numbers. Like, does that mean that there's not a lot of games selling at the moment?
That's my theory too. Every time that's my theory. When it's like number 10, Division 2, I'm like, how many copies were sold? Like 8? Like, I wonder how many. I imagine I'm exaggerating, like, underselling it, but.
I mean, that game's still kind of newish, but when Fallout 76 is like the 6th highest seller, is that on sale?
It's also like $8 at EB Games right now.
Yeah. So that was physical?
I believe that's physical and digital.
Right.
As far as I know. Those numbers come from IGEA, which is the Australian Games Entertainment Association. I should probably message Narelle there and ask her. Be like, hey, what's the deal here? What are the actual numbers here? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really curious when we're going to hear some actual figures on Days Gone.
Yeah.
Because you keep hearing like, it's the number 1 game in Japan, or it's the number 1 game in the UK. And it's like, I know that compared to America, those are really small markets, especially Japan, where there's not so many PS4s. But...
Well, yeah, because there's more Switches sold than PS4s right now. Baffling.
So it just makes me go like, has it sold 5 million copies? Like, I feel like even though it's not on that level of God of War and Spider-Man, I still think it's done pretty well. So I want to know, about Sony Bend's future, I guess. And
I think they're fine. I think Bend will continue.
It would just be good to know, it's sold maybe less than we hoped, but it's still sold like 6 million copies.
Yeah, I think Bend were pushing it with the amount of time that they took to make this game. But I do think the reception here is better. So if you were to look at the collective first-party studios and you were to look at who their outcomes are, obviously they're not probably the upper echelons like your Naughty Dogs or your Sony Santa Monica's now, or even your Guerrillas. I think they are certainly around the middle. I reckon they would have at least done all right. They may not have gone into the black. They may not have made all their money back. But I think it's done well enough. Like, I think Media Molecule are in more danger than the likes of Bend. Yeah.
Not hearing a lot about Dreams.
Well, yeah, Dreams is out, and for a very small select number of people, they're digging it. And it's like, well, having to release it in early access was the only way they would make some money on it. And that's a detriment to the game.
And you'll
if it's even a game anymore.
Because you'll just hear occasionally a headline like, "Oh, somebody made this in Dreams."
Yeah, all you're hearing about Dreams is people doing copyright infringement.
Yeah.
That's all you hear.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a game about being creative. Look at all these people just remaking other shit in Dreams. Like, how about you make new stuff? Like, I say that as someone that cannot make new stuff because I don't have those capabilities. But like, that has to be a concern for them. We made an episode on it about like a month and a half ago. It's like, what does this mean? Like, what's the legal ramifications here of everyone making old games?
Yeah. I think that's the reason for the very slow start, because they kind of had to get their legal team on top of it. I think we might have talked about that last time I was here. Maybe it was a split screen. Anyway, I think, like the Star Wars game that looked awesome in Dreams with the,
like, it's very cool, and people that make
swing.
these things are tremendously talented. But it's like, use that talent to make your own something, dude.
I mean, there's a lot of videos out there as well with original content.
Of course there is.
But they're not going to make as many headlines as someone that's made like X-Wing fighter or something.
And I do also understand the idea that you need to imitate before you can innovate, and that's you need to. We are the sum of our influences, and for that reason, I'm a little bit lax in terms of that.
I'm sure there will be like a big story at some point about like this 10 out of 10 game platformer or something that somebody's made in Dreams, and maybe that will be like the killer app of Dreams.
Could be. Time for some quick bits as we wrap up the news. This is based on rumor and speculation, but Jason Schrier has, quote, said on Twitter that he's been hearing around the parts The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, and Cyberpunk 2077, as well as FromSoft's new title, will all launch in the first half of 2020. He even directly called out Last of Us 2, saying it was coming in February. With its original... Do I still have the exact tweet about The Last of Us?
It seems like the kind of information that he wouldn't throw out there unless he was pretty confident.
And Jason Schreier is probably one of the most reliable people in the games biz. Like, for him to come out and drop that, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. I believe you. Where is that picture? Where is it? Here it is. He goes, looks like Death Stranding is about to get announced for November release, which it did. The Last of Us 2 was also planned for fall 2019, but I actually just heard it got bumped to early 2020, possibly February. Either way, final year for PS4. Huge
if true.
It's coming, yeah. It's not this year. But February makes sense. In terms of how PlayStation have liked to release their big games, it's very weird to have Death Stranding come out the back end of the year, because seeing as Sony has, in the last couple of years, just not touched the Christmas period.
Yeah, when did Spider-Man come out? October? September. Yeah, that's a good point. It's close-ish. It's only 2 months.
Yeah, the only one the last game that came out in the end of year period was The Last Guardian, and that was only because it had to come out, otherwise it wouldn't do anything. Next one, EA Ben's Walker has reiterated that he's developing a new Need for Speed game, confirming that it'll be released, quote, later in 2019, but it won't be unveiled as part of this year's EA Play, showcased during E3. And the fact they said 3, Need for Speed Underground 3 confirmed. Not confirmed. Anthem's updated online roadmap has been redesigned, removes all time frames and references to any specific future content. Fuck, Anthem is doing so bad.
That's sad.
And finally, Apex Legends revenue has dropped down by about 74% in the last 2 months.
There you go.
That's a big old drop. Apex Legends was doing goddamn wonders, and then it really sort of slowed down. I think the big issue with Apex is compared to like Fortnite, which gets updated almost on the daily, by them vocally stating that they are going to have minimal update. So like we'll drop an update once every couple of months. Like, so rather than putting out little hot fixes, we'll pretty much just have a big burl and drop all of it at once. I think that may be towards its detriment. But that's enough news, Jono. Now it's time to chat to the players about the Death Stranding trailer.
The Death Stranding. You like how they put that in at the end of the trailer? Like,
what are we, some sort of...
We have to say the name of the
game. What are we, some sort of Suicide Squad? Fuck.
Sounds like some kind of hot tub time machine. There's a great video getting around Twitter. It might be on YouTube. It's just of people
in movies saying movie line. I want to see that video so bad.
Good. Yeah, Supercut. I'll find it and I'll...
Please do. So late last week, Kojima did tease out that they would be dropping a new bit of information around Death Stranding. And earlier this week, the trailer did in fact drop. So this is a big reveal trailer. It shows a lot of gameplay, shows a lot of story, if that means anything. Yeah. And also the release date. So the game is coming at November 8th, 2019.
In our lifetime.
That's
Hopefully.
Way sooner than I anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, Kojima did say that it was coming out.
But I mean, like, we've been talking about this game for a year? 2 years?
No, longer.
No.
They revealed it in 2016.
Get out.
We went to RTX 2017 and Kojima was there in March talking about the game. So it was announced the year prior.
Okay, and that's totally true. So, time's fucking weird.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Well, that means, so even that, a 3-year dev cycle from scratch? Granted, they're using the Guerrilla engine, so that would have taken a lot of lead time out of it. But like, that's a fucking impressive turnaround for 3 years.
Yeah, and I guess they had been working on it before it was revealed as well, because it got revealed in 2016. I think at E3 or PSX, can't remember which.
Yeah, one of the two. Yeah.
And okay, by that point, they had that original baby.
Like naked Norman Reedus
in his arms. So I guess they had the concept, they had some of the cinematics figured out, they had the name obviously. Who knows what they had as far as
excuse me.
As far as, you know, the rest of everything that goes into it. But
and there was all that downtime when Kojima got booted from Konami. So there's a lot of pre-production time in there that, you know, that normally would get covered in the dev cycle, but because that'll happen before this last 3 years, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how long the game is. I've kind of had the feeling that it might be like a kind of a 10, 12 hour-ish experience.
I'm fine with.
Rather than some kind of crazy Metal Gear Solid 5 thing. Where
speaking of that, as you've gotten older and your priorities are altering, do you enjoy smaller games and bigger games these days?
It depends how good it is.
Yeah.
Like Red Dead, give me 100 hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it depends what time of the year it's coming out as well. But Days Gone, I would have been happy for that to be 30 hours. Instead it was 50 or 60.
Jeez, fuck.
Yeah. So there's a time
saying that though,
for everything.
I spent like 55 hours in God of War and I didn't complain once.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and that's like going for the platinum, right?
Yeah, it was going for the plat. Yeah.
It's a shorter game, but I think, it makes you value different experiences. So like Hollow Knight was, for me, 36 hours. I was only 71% complete by the time it was over, and I was ready to move on. But, you know, if you're someone that wants the 100% everything, you just have to be really mindful of what you're playing. And, you know, playing a shorter game every now and then feels good, I think. And something like this, whether it's this or like a Detroit Become Human, where it's very cinematic and story based, like, yeah, give it to me shorter. You know, you're not roaming the countryside. I mean, you are in this game, but I was just thinking of Days Gone on your motorbike, like exploring and like killing zombies, and you can just spend so much time getting distracted by these things. Where I think this is going to be a really tight experience.
I agree,
and very much like what you're doing is a direct result of like the previous cutscene, and what like you've got a strong sense of purpose for the whole thing. And I think that's where this game will succeed or fail, I think, is how the gameplay meshes with those cutscenes. Because we know that there's, like, apart from Metal Gear Solid 5, like, Kojima is always kind of very heavily relying on long cinematics to kind of tell the story. And I guess Metal Gear Solid 5 had that as well. It was just a bit more staggered because of the
open world
gameplay,
nature,
and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, as far as my general thoughts on the trailer, I think it's going to be a very polarizing game. I think there'll be a lot of people playing it just to kind of complain about how much it doesn't make sense. But it will be very much the game of the moment and on everyone, at least in our community's radar as to, you know, how good it is. And I think that it's going to do some things really well, and then it might do everything really well. We don't know, but I think it will at least have a really it looks amazing. So it's obviously got that going for it already. But
looks brilliant.
My feeling is that it's possible that the gameplay and these cinematics don't tie together as good as we hope they will, but that's just one of the difficult things of making this kind of game, and that's one of the areas they have to kind of nail. I'm hoping it does, and I think it very well could, but I think there will be people complaining like, oh, it doesn't work, or the cinematics don't make sense, or the I don't know. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing from the trailer.
Yeah, so with the trailer, it did show some gameplay. Like, it showed more of the walking across fucking terrain, which is what we've, it looks, as the jokes from the previous trailer, was this idea of this big walking simulator, the postal delivery man game.
We saw a ladder gameplay.
He has a portable ladder, that's very cool.
And we saw a radial of items
that
you could select, and it looks like there'll be puzzles around, like, terrain traversal,
which is so aside from that and one fucking Dawson punching on scene, we've not seen a lot of gameplay. So I do think in your idea, I think it will be very cinematic heavy, with a little bit of just getting from A to B in those middle sections, with some occasional punching on. And in the trailer as well, it did show the BTs, the floating dudes in the sky that we've seen before, and then you have to sort of stealth your way around them. Saying that though, Kojima did come out and say that it isn't a stealth game, so there's no real worry about that. I'm unsure of where it's going to sit in terms of that, like where it's going to lie in terms of gameplay versus cinematics. I would like a smaller experience, and I think with the lead time on this, I do think it will probably be a shorter experience. I think, so on top of that, because I'm a massive Metal Gear fan, right? I love Metal Gear.
Me too.
But I'm starting to think that I'm more of a Metal Gear fan than I'm a Kojima fan. So I've said this before. The idea is because I think I love the narrative and what Metal Gear brings, but then when I look at anything that isn't Metal Gear that Kojima is involved with, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
What else is there though?
There's like Zone of the Enders and stuff like that. There's a bunch of other smaller games prior to that. I'm like, and this, even look at this, I'm going, I don't think this is for me. I think Metal Gear was for me. I don't think this is for me.
Yeah. I think gameplay-wise, the vibes that I've gotten since the trailer previous to this was Journey.
Yeah. Like,
you're going somewhere, you have a purpose, and you're solving puzzles to get to the next area. But also like The Last Guardian as well, where you're not only doing this, but there's an emotional connection as well between, in that game there's Trico, which I didn't play this game, but from what I gather, there's, you and Trico and the way that you interact. And then in this game you have this like baby inside of a tube, basically, and there's some connection between those characters, I'm thinking.
Well, with the whole idea of this game is connection. That's sort of the big point. It's these, he referred to in RTX, these ropes that tether everyone together.
Instead of sticks.
Yeah, so it's just, that was such a weird interview. The big idea is, it seems to be this big analogy of the internet, is what they're getting at here, is this idea of how can you shake hands with someone and be connected if they're not in front of you. And I think that's sort of the underlying message, because who would have thought that Kojima would get political?
Yeah, but as we said, it's very possible that these trailers have hidden a lot of things.
I guarantee you they have.
Whether it's gameplay elements that completely change our perception. We could be completely off by saying Journey and The Last Guardian. And
saying that though, my other concern here is that one thing I've always advocated against, is the Nintendo bump. A game that is impeccably average, because it's a Nintendo game, gets a couple points extra. Like
Kojima bump. Yeah,
and I think Kojima will get the same response. I think everyone will be like, this game is fucking brilliant, and you're an idiot if you don't understand it. Like this game is an easily a 10 out of 10. Like, no, it's not. It's probably like a good 8. Like, no, you're just not smart enough to understand this game. Like, well, can you tell me what the game's about? I don't want to have to explain it to you. Yeah. That's where I'm feeling it's going to go. Because even I love Metal Gear, and there's big parts of Metal Gear that I'm like, I can't explain that. So like the part of me thinks that he is this big auteur, whatever the correct term is, within the gaming space, and that's certainly true. You can't argue that. He's a visionary in some ways, but I do think there's a lot of drinking from the Kool-Aid here.
Yeah, I think you can see that just from the reaction to the trailers, where it's like, don't know what it is, but I'm into it. Like,
I don't know what the fuck that was, but Kojima's touched it once, so I want it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fine to me. Like, we all have people, whether it's Kevin Smith's or Quentin Tarantino's or, who's it, like J.J. Abrams, whatever, where you're just like, I like what they do and I trust them and I've seen enough to interest me. Like, if someone else was behind this and we'd seen exactly what we've seen, I think there would still be a fair amount of interest behind it. Like Norman Reedus, Mads, all this, like some weird concepts and some kind of he's created a world that has me interested to find out what's going on.
I want to know how Mads and Guillermo del Toro and Troy Baker and all these people live together in the same world. Like, I'm totally down for that. But like, it's funny because I'm sitting here being like, people just fucking drink that Kojima shit. And then I remember the other day someone had a conversation like, hey, did you watch that new trailer for Kojima? I'm like, nope, but I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
Like, well, guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite.
Yeah. But hey, it's what makes it fun. Like,
that's true.
It's good to know, like, it's good to have people and personalities like Kojima in this industry to kind of get the hype going and to create these kinds of conversations, I think. And like, look at the people that he's got involved in this game. Like, would they be doing some other game if it was?
Would you get Mads in another game? Probably not. Like Guillermo del Toro has been interested in games for a very long time, but only with Kojima, it seems. Yeah,
like if it was David Jaffe or something, some other person behind it that is still a big name in the games industry, but they're not Kojima. Yeah, I don't know if they would have got what they've got here.
Saying that though, like, we did get confirmation of some of the characters. Is any of them
Die Hard Man?
Yeah, Die Hard Man and Heart Man and Good Man or something. That was
Good Man.
Yeah, it wasn't Good Man, but there was like a bunch of different odd names there. Like, we understand. Like, this is what I mentioned to you at the start before we started recording, with like Kojima knowingly getting his pop culture references in there, like Diamond Dogs being David Bowie, and Miller looks very David Bowie, and Snake is very clearly Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. To have some guy clearly called Die Hard Man is a bold move.
It is. I don't see any kind of.
Looks nothing like Bruce Willis.
There's no similarities between.
Does he not wear shoes?
This story and like Die Hard.
Yeah.
Unless they end up in like a vent, like a.
It's all happening while like fucking Sam is Norman Reedus' character is suffocating in a vent. Yeah. Speaking of, like, I haven't watched Walking Dead, so I don't have a lot of love for Norman Reedus, so I don't get the appeal.
You're not into what you've seen from him?
No.
He's a cool dude.
Is he?
He's got a certain vibe.
There's a charm to him.
It's not a charm really. It's just he's just one of those kind of curmudgeonly kind of, almost like a Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of vibe to him, where it's just like like you want to.
So now I get it.
It's kind of like you want to impress them, because they don't care, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I noticed, and I remember there was a big hot when Walking Dead was really popular. Everyone was like, "I want to bang Daryl Dixon." I'm like, but why? He looks smelly. He looks gross. Why would you want to bang this dude? Nothing about him seems appealing. But I guess there's something there. There's something there. Yeah. Now, before we, because I think we probably the thing about this trailer is there's so little to explain because it's all still nonsense. And I don't know.
It's so long. Like,
and it's so long.
Kind of end, like you think it's ending, and then there's like another 2 minutes.
Yeah. And like, a friend of mine brought up a good point. It was like, interesting move to call a woman character Fragile. I'm like, ooh, that is her name. That's a bit weird. Just the whole idea that like Kojima may not have learnt from Quiet in Metal Gear Solid 5 and how to handle women characters.
Makes sense. We'll see. It's, maybe it's the delivery kind of thing.
Maybe in context it might make more sense.
Yeah.
Now Josh, as I said, like his intention was to be here today, but family stuff did get in the way. He had himself a Kojima rant locked and ready to go.
Are you going
to he's giving me a bit of a teaser, and then next week he's going to deliver the rest of it himself.
There's a teaser.
He goes, I don't understand the godlike status Kojima has on the internet. It is as if he's solely responsible for Metal Gear, and people didn't have hundreds of people also work on the project. His cult-like status and the reason for it highlight the hypocrisy of games media and the internet gaming community. ... He's going to come back with more next week.
Interesting. Stay tuned for that. If I can address that briefly with
Yes, of course can.
kind of a semi-related note. It is, yes, the product of a huge team, but I think for something like this, and I think we've seen this in the Raising Kratos documentary.
The direct visionary, yeah.
You need a person to kind of say, this is what we're doing, and everyone needs to fall in line with that.
And I think that's... I get his point here, because there does seem to be this consensus that no one else fucking matters unless it's that person, right? And that's everywhere. That's in movies, that's in games, that's in fucking everything. In music even, right? In music, the idea of the singer is the key member of everything, which is not always the case. So I agree with you, because whenever you look at a movie that has like 6 writers on it, like, that's going to be a hot shit movie. That's going to be fucking balls. You look at Green Lantern, that had 6 writers on it. 6. The movie's horrendous because there's too many voices. It's too muddled. Where, like, if you have someone that has a good vision and a good plans, the mullet show tries screeching footsteps approach the run and the door slams open. Sorry, I'm late. Sucks selection. What I miss? I'm just talking about the PlayStation. And aren't you supposed to be here soon? Because aren't we going to watch NXT Takeover? Are you in my lounge room right now?
Anyone listening on the podcast is like, what is he talking about?
So Craig from the Mullet Show jumped in the Patreon chat there and just a bunch of stuff.
Yes, visions, writers. Yes.
Yes. So having a single person at the top to hone everything, but then take on those influences from others, which is certainly good, and I love that. Like, because the reason we watch using Kevin Smith as an example is because Kevin Smith's voice, but if you look at the credits, he's involved in fucking everything. He edits it, he writes it, he directs it. Yeah. Shit.
And I think that you look at names like Amy Hennig, and you look at names like Neil Druckmann, whoever it might be, that has become kind of an icon for their involvement in a game. Kojima's a great example. There's a reason that we know their names, and it's because people around them have elevated them as well.
So Craig Dunphy goes, door slams open, rapid footsteps and tires screeching. So he screeched his way in and be like, hey, what I miss? Shouldn't you be at my house? Oh, fuck!
He's on his way. Yeah, anyway, what I was saying...
I love you, Craig.
Like, these people have become icons because presumably the people that they work for have said, this guy is a legend. The games media has done their job and found out about these people's involvement and how important they were to that vision, and they've helped elevate them. And I don't think it's by accident that these individuals that I named have got that credit. The same way that visionaries behind different, whether it's the iPhone or whatever, like there's always a person. If it's a person that's been elevated like Kojima, there's a reason for it. It's not like them taking credit like that. They don't seem like, especially like Amy Hennig, Neil Druckmann, you never hear anyone say they're taking credit for my idea. Like, I was a writer on The Last of Us. Why is he getting all the credit? Like, I think that if you take that one person out, you don't have Metal Gear.
You don't have whatever it is.
Whereas if you took out any of the other people involved, they're probably replaceable. And you wouldn't be able to say that about Kojima.
That's certainly true.
Amy Hennig.
See, but saying that though, using Amy Hennig as an example, like, she created Uncharted, but she hasn't done anything in 11 years.
That's not her fault.
That's not her. Well, no, it's not her fault. We're led to believe it's not her fault.
Yes.
Like,
we'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I am yet to really see her as the visionary people claim her to be.
Well,
personally,
you have to find out more about Uncharted.
That's true. Uncharted is great. I love Uncharted, but like, don't get me wrong,
what
Uncharted
have you done for me lately.
Yeah, Uncharted has become a massively important tentpole in the PlayStation brand, and Nathan Drake as a character will live on longer than PlayStation. But I don't know. To me, Uncharted is now Neil and Bruce.
It is now, because they've taken over.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't be anywhere. It's like Star Wars and George Lucas.
Well, yeah, it's like Lost with JJ. JJ did the first season, then booted, and then it was left for everybody else. So, like, you know, that's connected to him, even though he had nothing to do with the rest of it.
Yes.
I get your point.
I think I made a point.
You did. Let us know
anyway,
what your.
We'll hear more from Josh next week. You can feel free to address what we've said. But.
Paul James, if you remember, her career and influence was big before Uncharted.
Probably true. I don't know.
Very likely possible, but you know, I know her from that point, and everyone says she's a visionary
Legacy,
because of
yes,
Uncharted.
I did know.
Oh, Legacy of Kain, yeah, of course. Okay.
Good call.
Good
there,
pull.
Paul. Can see why you've been on this show so many times.
So let us know what you thought of the Death Stranding trailer in those comments below, or the Facebook group, or the Discord channel. All those links are in the description. Come and have a chat to us about Death Stranding. Now, before we jump into the drop, we talk about all the games that have come out this week. Paul James did drop a question in here in the chats. He goes, how does this shift your expectations of other PS releases, as in with Death Stranding dropping at the end of this year, especially when paired with what Jason Schrier says?
It lines up. Like, if you think about, there was some rumors before Death Stranding was announced that The Last of Us could in fact be released this year, and maybe that was people hearing that there was a major PlayStation exclusive without a release date that was going to be announced, and that's what it turned out to be. So I would say that February time slot, 3.5 months after Death Stranding, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's a good time for it to come out too. That February time slot's been pretty good for some games in past years.
Yeah, I agree. So in terms of PlayStation's past releases, it fits. The only thing that doesn't fit is Death Stranding. But I think Death Stranding as a game it was like Red Dead last year. Yeah. No one's gonna touch that window. If you know that Death Stranding's coming out, everyone's gonna fucking bounce.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a big game to us because we're Kojima / Metal Gear fans, and there's a lot of them out there as well, but I don't know that his name carries weight with the casual gamer.
True.
And there's enough hardcore gamers that this game will sell well regardless. But Red Dead is like Red Dead, the name of Red Dead
and Rockstar
transcends Kojima and Metal Gear to me.
That's certainly true. Certainly true. What Jason has solidified my point that Last of Us wasn't coming out this year. I was pretty adamant. Like, we see all these lists of Last of Us 2 2019. Like, fuck off. It is not coming out this year. As much as I would love that, that was one of those things that I was like, prove me wrong. Goddamn, prove me wrong, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super glad that Death Stranding's this year. Yeah, because it's, as we said at the start of the show, it's been a little light as far as PlayStation this year.
Because even in PlayStation being quiet and not talking about things until just recently. Yeah. Oh, and one thing before we jump into one, there was something that you wanted to jump on. You sent me a picture.
We can do this just quickly.
Yeah, let's have a chat about this.
A tweet that I saw from the PS4.
It's been a long show today, but it's all been good.
Yeah. So there's an account called PS4_Trophies, which is run by a dude called Brian, and I think PS4Trophies is his
It's him,
website.
yeah.
So he just tweeted how PlayStation wins E3. 1, drop a state of play Tuesday morning. 2, boring stuff for 10 minutes. 3, end with 5-minute mind-melting beautiful walkthrough of The Last of Us 2. 4, fade to black. The words gameplay captured on PS5 appears. Image of PS5 briefly appears. That's how they win E3 without being there. And I was just like, man, that would be so cool.
There's a lot of just fan excitement in that tweet.
Yeah, I mean, it gets me hyped up. It won't happen. I mean, it could. It probably won't. Is there a small chance that they've pulled out of E3, but they still want to use that week without actually having to be there and spend all that money and do all of that?
My original thoughts were no.
Wouldn't it be such a PlayStation move?
But it would be very cool. Like having them drop Death Stranding info like 2 weeks before E3, like that's a big look at my dick moment. Like that is them just whipping it out, going like,
it's pretty good.
It's what it is. That's what I'm saying. Like there's like, it's them being that upper hand, right? They're like. In a dick measuring contest, they've come in first. So you can use all the penis references, but it was what it feels like. It feels like that sort of just like, yes, look, Death Stranding.
Don't forget.
So nothing's gonna it's one of those things like E3 is gonna be cool and all. But remember, we aren't there, but we've got this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, I still think they don't have enough to say at this point to go there, because that's what they're. But then again, they could have forced that narrative upon us that they don't have anything to talk about. But I don't.
PS5.
I think if Xbox comes out and announces whatever their next console is going to be, there's a possibility, because they have the narrative here.
I love the idea of PlayStation having this trailer and everything just ready to go, and they're just waiting to press the button and be like, "What? You just announced the next Xbox? Well, guess what? Here's the last."
And that's the risk-free nature of having directs. They could have 3 directs planned, pre-edited, pre-ready to rock and roll, and it's all depending on what the competition are mentioning. So if Xbox says nothing about the new Xbox console, here's State of Play 1.
Yeah.
If they happen to drop the big console card, here's trailer 2. You know what I mean? Or if they reveal the console, oh shit, here's 3. You know what I mean? Like, you can, like, with those stage shows, they are so pre-planned that you can't go off script. And because everything's in place, everything's there, you know, you can't fuck with it. With a direct, you can have that shit planned. Do I see them doing anything at E3 week? Probably not.
It would be a pretty aggressive move.
It'd be so dirty. So dirty.
Yeah, I mean, EA does it, don't they?
Kind of.
Like,
well, EA aren't at E3, but they have EA Play like the week before, you know. So
it's the whole week before. Okay, yeah, that is different. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a good little like test of how nice PlayStation are playing. Like,
I would love to see it, because like that aggressive play, totally up my alley. Like that is brilliant. Like, that's what I want to hear about. Like, I'm enjoying this, you know, Microsoft and Sony shaking hands, and you know, the memorandum of being best friends.
Crossplay.
Yeah, and like all this stuff is really cool, but there is something about competition that's awesome. And you know, as much as PlayStation have very clearly won this generation, and it's totally in Xbox's best interest to move into the next generation now. I don't think PlayStation would give it up that easy.
Do you think just on the base of like, will we see another Last of Us 2 trailer before it's released, like a major 5-minute thing?
No, I don't.
They've shown enough.
I think they've shown enough. I think the only time we will see The Last of Us 2 will be October.
No sizzle reel.
No sizzle reel. I think the last thing we'll see will be probably around about if it is presumably coming out in February, September or October, we'll see a trailer and it'll say February 2019.
I think they have to do some kind of, whether it's a release trailer or something, but
they'll do, because it's the benefit of The Last of Us. It is so huge that it can proceed. You know, like I'm a big fan of announce it and then the game comes out in 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, you give that release date and then 3 months it's there. That's what I'm a big fan of. Like, I don't want this, hey, it's coming out in October of next year and it's currently June of this year. I don't want none of that shit.
Yeah. I think for a game like this, though, they have to create a trailer that appeals to the mainstream.
Yeah, or at least gives the rundown of the story.
Yeah, like so far, okay, The Last of Us 2, we've seen Ellie at the dance and taking out some baddies. Like, that appeals to fans of The Last of Us, but it's not something that you can play at halftime of the Super Bowl or before your YouTube video that will make people go like, oh,
that is true.
Game.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I'm not seeing it. But anyway, we'll have our E3 predictions next week. So we'll be recording them on the weekend, and then by the time the episode goes up, the Xbox conference will have already started. But we think it's always best to do it just on the nose, so that way we can exclude all the leaks, and that way we can have balls to the wall predictions.
Sounds good.
Paul James goes, we'll absolutely get at least one more big trailer, he reckons. Anyway, but
we will see.
The Last of Us 2 is coming out in forever.
Sure is.
Let's talk about the games coming out this week in a section called Coming to the Players. We just straight up read the drop. These are games coming for June 4th, 2019. Effie, PS4 Digital. I don't know what that is. We'll spin out this so you never squiz. Kodo Dama, The 7 Mysteries of Fujisawa, PS4 Digital and Retail. The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 2, PS4 digital and retail. Legend of the Tetrarchs, whatever. PS4 digital. Moto GP19, PS4 digital retail, out on the 6th. Neon Junction, PS4, PS Vita, digital crossplay, which is very nice. Pix Arc, PS4 digital retail, out on the 6th. Refunct, PS4 digital, out on the 7th. The Saviors Gang, PS4 digital. Stunt Kite Party, PS4 digital, out on the 7th. Super Blood Hockey, PS4
good.
digital. And Super Skullomania, PS4 dig. Tuki Juju Denestu, I'm way too white to read all these, coming out on the 6th. PS4 and digital. Warhammer Chaos Bane, PS4 digital. There's still more. Fuck. Word Wheel by Palgi, PS4, PS Vita, digital cross buy, and that is literally it. Absolutely nothing of note this week.
No,
not even a little bit.
Get those PS Plus games on Tuesday.
Yeah, go play Borderlands on Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, Jono, for coming in and joining us for some PlayStation chats.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, man. It's been a damn long time since we've had you in this room. Very happy to have you back.
It was pre-PAX. So
It was easily pre-PAX, yeah. So it was like back in prior to October.
must have been.
But it's been at least that time. It's been at least since October we've had any. You've been the first guest in
Really?
a very long time. Yeah, man.
Suck it, Paul.
Yeah, eat a dick, Paul. Before we jump into our spiel, do you want to give a little spiel about where we can hear your voices and your people's?
Yeah. So Puttin in Work goes up every week. It's part of the 8-Bit Collective. You can find me on iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere else. We're going to, after this, record an episode with Mr. Betson here.
A nice follow-up.
A second appearance.
Yeah.
It's almost 2 years since your first Puttin in Work episode. So you'll get to hear all about what has happened in the pop culture since then, and I guess in your real life, your job.
Yeah, my job changed, that sort of stuff.
Working with the games and the kids.
Those kids.
Those kids. Yeah, so that's out there. I of course make some video content for 8-Bit as well over on the YouTube. So if you want to see some of the reviews and I've been doing some kind of highlight reels of the violence in Days Gone and Rage 2. So kind of capturing all the madness that goes on in those games. That's a lot of fun to kind of compile. And of course, if you like the idea of the 90s Rewatch podcast and you want to hear Ryan and Josh on an episode with me talking about mole rats or something like that.
Well, you probably get a lot of the viewer's universe. It all kind of stopped at the end of the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Jane Silent Bob was in the early 2000s.
I think Chasing Amy is definitely on the list of to-dos. So, yeah, head over to our Patreon. We just need, I think it's about another $40 a month. We only have to hit it once, I'm saying. So, I also said if anyone tips us over, you can pick a movie to be a co-host on yourself. So
hey, that's
if
pretty
that
cool.
Sounds good to you, then make it happen and we will see what we can do.
Very nice. But that PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify and the YouTubes at 9 a.m. If you want to show love for the pop cultures, you can head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist, where you can throw a couple $1 dues our way and maybe even watch us record this show live, just like Paul James has today, and Craig did for a minute, and then got in the car and drove this way. Good, nice work, Craig. And if you want to show the support Pop Culture on your body and a bit of a one-off donation-y sort of thing, you can go to popculturist.com/shop. You can buy assorted shit with our logos on it. If you want to, what else is there? Shop. Yeah.
Patreon.
Patreon. We do Patreon. Patreon's done. We're also on Twitch. We're on twitch.tv/thepopculturist. This week we'll be using the power of WWE 2K19 to predict the absolute shit show that will be the Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia next weekend. Speaking of wrestling, though, if you're done listening to some PlayStation goodness, why don't you head over to those podcast services and this YouTube channel and check out The Young and the Wrestlers, our weekly WWE podcast every Monday morning. Not Monday, at the same time as PopC. FTP, every Friday morning. Now, we did take last week off. We've got AEW to talk about now. We've got regular WWE. It's almost like Monday Night Wars all over again. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan and PlayStation fan. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jono Pech.
And that was For the Players. For the Players, the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast is fan-supported at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: Damien Holdies, Hakim NPC, Lee Wintershoven, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.